Hello, girls, guys, or otherwise. This is Rich with your Witchy Wednesday spot. We were talking about in the Outer Temple Witchcraft, Chapter 11, where we were talking about circle casting and setting up the ritual space and whatnot. So I decided to make this into a little mini series for the Witchy Wednesday. Last week we talked about purification of self. This week we're going to talk about the circle. Um, Setting it up and what it is and all that good stuff. So, first things first, I love this subject. We did this subject on the Pagan Perspective years ago. Matter of fact, let me look here. I should have already had this brought up. I did this on April 11th, 2016 for the Pagan Perspective. And I love this topic. I will link that video below if you want to watch that. However, a lot of the information that I'm going to present here is also information that I presented in that video. So this is kind of just a little redo for me. Anyway, circumambulation, yeah. I can't pronounce the word of what circle casting is. It's circumambulation. I cannot pronounce it. Can't do it. Anyway, the act of making a circle, okay, has roots in so many religions. You have in Islam, you walk around the Kaaba. You have in Judaism, it's a practice for honoring the important figureheads. I don't remember all of this stuff, and I don't have my old script, and I don't have my old resources from that video because that website has been taken down. However, it was a very informative website. You have in Jewish weddings, the bride will go make a circle around the groom in order to break down the barriers, and you have the walls of Jericho that are told in biblical literature as well as in the Hebrew scriptures about the walls of Jericho, walking around, again, making a circle and bringing down a barrier, a wall. But it can also be used to build up a wall, which is what we're talking about in the circle of ritual. This is creating a barrier, a way of not having something come into your ritual space. You have made yourself purified, or you have cleansed yourself, so you are mentally, physically, and spiritually ready. I'm just fixing my shirt here because I have some like bacon collar going on here. Anyway, yeah, not great. Anyway, we're not going to pay attention to that. Now it's all you can look at. Uh, so we we have these stories of breaking down the walls, but really in a ritual circle, we have purified ourselves. Or at least we have gotten into the mindset. I don't like the term purifying ourselves because it's as if we are dirty, but there are certain things that you don't want to bring into circle. So again, we've cleansed ourselves, we've cleansed our minds, we've cleansed our bodies, we've gotten into the right mindset. Now we are setting up the perimeter. This is a perimeter that will set this place outside of space and time. So we are, in essence, doing this on another realm. Whenever you are in this circle, you don't want anything just coming in and, disrupting the energy and all that. You don't want any of that. So what we do, at least a healthy majority of witches out there, is we create a circle. We cast this down. There's multiple ways to do it. I'm going to share just a few. But there are multiple ways. You will also see circling in the Freemasons, in the what you call operational masonry, people that actually are masons, you have where they would walk around a person. They would basically do a circle around somebody in order to make sure that they are ready for work that day, that they are physically fit for work that day. In speculative masonry, Freemasons, we have the same instance where we walk around the altar in a Masonic lodge. So, not giving out any secrets, you can read all about it. Anyway, you go around the lodge, and uh, you're really trying to correlate the symbolism of the speculative masonry to the operational masonry of the past, in the legends and whatnot, and it's quite beautiful. But you see this in so many um, different ways that you keep a continuous flow. One way to look at this is that whenever you are in circle, you are creating. Remember, whenever you were kids and you would get into a pool, if that was available. Um, we would get into a pool and you'd walk around the perimeter of the pool, like while you're in the pool, and you would walk around and you'd create this whirlpool. You're kind of doing that, except that you're in fact on dry land. I would say the majority of the time. I don't know anybody that's done circle in the water, but that would be quite awesome, and I'd love to hear about it. However, we are walking this circle, and we are bringing those energies up, and we're kind of just agitating those energies just enough so that they gain the momentum that we need in order to bring that energy through the cone of power out into the ether to do our will. So that's one reason that we do, or those are a couple reasons. Building a boundary, and you're containing that energy, because not only are you making a boundary for something to not get in that's not welcome, you're also creating a boundary that something won't get out until you let it out. So you're containing that energy, and then you're agitating that energy in order to send it out and do your will. So, things that you can use, or ways that you can cast a circle, is, of course, a wand. Take your wand, and I usually start at the east. That's the way I've always done it. You start at the east, and you just go around the entirety of the room or the space that you're working in, doing this preferably by walking it, if that is a physical thing that you can do. If you are, in fact, not able to walk around the space, adjust as needed, of course. So, yes, you can use your wand. You can direct this energy to keep an energetic boundary there. So what we're doing is we're taking the energy from us, we're bringing it through the wand, and we're pointing it out of the wand in order to kind of make a lasso around the entirety of the space. I do it 3 times. Some people do it once. Some people may do it more or less. So I do it 3 times. You can also, I don't, however, you can use your athame. Same concept, directing energy through your hands, through your body, through the athame, and pointing it down, drawing almost like you're almost like drawing the circle on the earth. Now, another thing that you can use, if I can get it out, is a staff. You can utilize a staff. You can utilize a sword if you happen to have one. I don't have a sword. I've sold those before, but I don't have them, or don't have any anymore. So you can use a staff. And the benefits of having an actual staff is that you can physically mark the space. especially if you're outside. If it's a dirt space, you can physically draw on the ground the dirt, the circle itself. Um, if you are in a tradition that utilizes, let me just set this back over here. There we go. Okay. If you are in a tradition where you draw a circle and you want to draw a circle in order to set a boundary so you know the physical limitations of where the boundary is, you can utilize salt. You can utilize chalk. Chalk is always a good one, especially if you're on like a concrete or like a linoleum or something like that. I've seen people um, actually take an old sheet, or they go out and they buy a sheet just for this purpose, and they will paint on it, or they will they will take tape and put it along there and intricately cut the tape with scissors and all that, just to make sure that, you know, it's looking like a circle. So there's a ton of ways that you can do this. You can use a tarp too. That's always a possibility, or an avenue for you. Let me get a drink here. There we go. So there's a lot of different possibilities to create circle. And let's see, we discussed why we want to do it. We discussed how we do it, or some methods of doing that. The way that I do it is, especially for me, because usually I am all by myself, if I am in a spot where I don't want to walk, or I can't walk around the space, because let's be honest, sometimes you have limitations onto how far you can walk, and just turning around doesn't really do it for me. So what I'll do, and I think I've said this before, is I will take my hands and I'll make a little ball of energy, and I will send that off, and it will just go around. I give it instruction to, you know, make a circle and to keep that. And one thing that I like to do is imagine that energetic light, like a electric blue light, just making a nice barrier around the entirety of me and, you know, the area that I'm working with and whatnot. That's how I like to do circle. I am in the process of revamping the way that I do circle and the way that I do ritual, but nothing I really want to share yet. And certainly circle casting is going to be one of those things. I'm going to revamp the way that I do circle as part of my revamp of how I do ritual. This isn't to say that the methods that I've used in the past don't work for me. They absolutely work. And usually I would say, you know what? If it works for you, stick with it. However, I want to venture out just a little bit more, get back kind of to the roots of how I used to always practice, and try that out a little bit more, or at least get back to doing that, because it is wonderful the way that you do, or the way that you hold that space, I guess, would be the best way to say it. Because you hold that space a little bit more sacred whenever you're actually going through those motions. And to me, that's something that I've noticed that it's not that it's really lacking in my practice, but it's that my mind isn't always saying, hey, this is a holy moment that we are in. This is a moment that you are with deity, that you are with the departed. You know, show a little bit more respect. And I am a very respectful practitioner whenever it comes, especially whenever it comes to you know, the ritual aspect. However, it's like the seriousness sometimes doesn't hit as well for me, or as hard as it should for me. And I want to try to tweak a little bit of my practice and kind of get back to the basics a little bit. So that's something that's getting revamped in my practice. Again, look into the different uh, the different cultures and the different ways that different cultures do a circle. Uh, you see this in Catholic churches. You'll see this in, like I said, in Islam, in Judaism, in many pagan circles or pagan religions or pagan practitioners, especially the eclectic pagans. Um, I think you'll see that a lot more there. And you'll see it in, oh, I just had one on the tip of my tongue, in Freemasonry, yes, which I've already talked about. So, yeah, circle, the concept of it, what it's all about, all that stuff is something that is immensely fascinating to me. And it all comes down to creating that space. You are making a space holy. You are making the space right for the situation that you're going into. We're going to talk about purifying space next week, I think it was. Hold on, let me look it up, because we were in chapter 11. Of course, I put big clips there, didn't I? Yes, I most certainly did. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Because I want to make sure that I'm saying this correctly. And I'm forgetting. Oh, there we are. Okay. So, next week we have, following Christopher Penzak's stuff here. Next week we have quarter calls. However, I'm just going to touch here on this right now then, if we're going to talk quarter calls next week. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing that I usually do is then I purify the space. I purify the space right after I put up circle, and right before I call the quarters. So what you're doing there is, imagine, we're in the witchy room. Imagine that we just have a little bit of stagnant energy in here. Okay? So I've put up my barrier, and then I go and call the quarters, because the energy is still stagnant though. Now, in Christopher Penzak's way of doing it, we purify ourselves, or we cleanse ourselves, get ourselves ready, and then we cleanse the space. However, my thought on this was, oh, okay, you're cleansing, but negative energy can still get into that area before you put the barrier up. So for me, this has always been like an osmosis thing, where things can go out, but other things can't come in, or or it purifies things as it comes in. Osmosis is, it can give and take, it can go through. However, there is a change in my mind whenever it crosses that barrier of the circle, that it purifies that energy, or it makes it positive energy, not negative energy. So my thought has always been, contain it and then purify it, pushing either all the negative energy out, or transforming the positive or the negative energy into positive energy. So I hope that makes sense. I think it did. This video is kind of all over the place, because I had a couple different things that I wanted to hit on, and then I remembered something that I forgot to mention, and then went back. Yeah, this video is kind of all over the place, but I do love this subject. I really do. Um, I will link below the video that I did. Again, that is on the Pagan Perspective channel for April 11th. So I will link that below if you would like to go and watch that. It's a little bit more scripted, a little bit more to the point, and boy, I was kind of dry whenever I was speaking back then. So yeah, a little bit more, a little uptight. Um, yeah, go check out that video. Let me know what you think. Dang, I can't speak tonight. Anyway, yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it. I'm at like 20 minutes, so I think that's a good place to leave it. And if you are not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, hit that like button, hit that dislike button, whichever appeals to you more. Either way, just remember to comment down in the nether regions. It all helps appease the algorithmic gods of YouTube. All hail the algorithmic gods of YouTube. And join me tomorrow for our Table Talk Thursdays. So we will be picking from our Table Topics Cube and discussing our answers to whatever questions come up from that. Always a fun time. Maybe I'll have a fun story to tell with those as well. Yeah. Update on the Juanita situation from last week. Yeah, Juanita's gone. She moved out of her unit. She's gone, and hopefully I never have to deal with her again because she was just rude. I did have somebody come in and say to me, you know, that because I was saying, oh yeah, I had this lady like just bawling outside my door and all that, and she's like, well, maybe she's actually having a hard time. I said, no, she's not having a hard time. She just doesn't like what she hears from somebody telling her the letter of the law, and she's not liking that, and she's trying to gain sympathy points. Not only that, her son was coming there, and if he sees her crying, he'll do whatever she wants. I'm like, this lady is not dumb. She's manipulative. So, yeah. It wasn't that she had a harder time or anything between the time that she was cursing me out and the time that she started bawling her eyes out. But it was more the fact that her son was on his way, and hopefully she can gain a little sympathy points. But yeah, no. I did have somebody like that this week, though, that sat there and tried to defend her, not knowing who she was or the situation and all that. But yeah, these are the things I have to deal with at work. Anyway, join me tomorrow to see what topic we get. Maybe a fun one, maybe a serious one. Yeah. So until next time, I almost forgot my outro. Until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.